Hawaii is an isolated ecosystem, a chain of islands 1,816 miles away from the nearest continent.
The islands of Hawaii are home to 1,400 native plant species. 90% of those plants are found nowhere else in the world.
Due to the extreme isolation of Hawaii, the native species have evolved free from many of the competitive forces found on continents.
The introduction of invasive plant species and bacteria, fungi, viruses, nematodes, and other diseases living on them have and will damage the fragile ecosystem of Hawaii.
I'm here with Dr. Robin Screen, and I'm going to ask her a question about invasive species. So, how do the invasive plant species that are introduced into Hawaii affect the native birds that are living here and the native plants that they feed on?
So for one, invasive species can outcompete native species, and we end up losing some of our native species. They can also lead to spread of different diseases, and you end up with habitat loss that is important to these native birds. So once the habitat is gone and their food is gone that are native plants, then that is detrimental to the birds as well.
The group responsible for keeping invasive, diseased, and pest-infested plant species out of Hawaii is Plant Protection and Quarantine.
Their job is to ensure that any plants coming into Hawaii by plane, boat, or any other means of travel are safe for the native environment and are not carrying any lethal or damaging diseases.
Hi, I am here with Matt Gu, who is a plant pathologist. I'm asking a few questions. So what sort of plants and sort of diseases that have come into Hawaii from the mainland or other places, and how have those affected the ecosystem and agriculture that is here?
Yeah, that's a good question, Noah. Actually, what we have a lot of now is actually rust that's been coming in. We have Vaccinia cityi, which has affected the ohia, as well as a lot of Myrtaceae, which is like eucalyptus and things like that. We also have a coffee rust that has come in that has currently affecting coffee right now, which is very detrimental for the coffee field. What we try to do to be proactive is to prohibit the material that has infection from coming in. And we also have a post-entry program as well as a controlled import program to prevent rust from coming in, because they are very difficult to prevent. Since oftentimes the spores are so microscopic, you can't see it. So we do have, again, post-entry type of methods for controlling that as well, or prohibiting plant material from coming in.
Just as Matt mentions, diseases such as coffee rust can have a detrimental effect on Hawaiian agriculture and its indigenous and endemic species.
If you are traveling to Hawaii from any other places, please make sure to report any live plants, this includes fruits and vegetables, to the USDA to make sure that you are not endangering the species of Hawaii.
Thanks for listening to our PSA.